We have a lot of news to get to today, and honestly, not a lot of it's good. It's a lot of bad stuff. But first, good news is there is a new tournament on Underdog. This is a higher dollar buy-in. This is the $40 buy-in. There's also a $4 Chihuahua too. So obviously, if you're new to Underdog, hop in the $4 draft. Don't get in the $40 one. But I need to make sure that I'm maxing this out. I said I was going to max out the $50 draft whenever they had that out. And of course, I did not because I was lazy and didn't get them in time. So I'm just going to make sure that we can start knocking out some of these $40 Huskies. And yeah, before we dive into the news, let me at least let y'all know the structure of this tournament. So $40 buy-in. The top 3 teams in your 12-team draft are going to advance to the Fantasy Football Playoff Tournament. There in week 15, you'll have to go up against 7 other people, and the top 2 highest scoring teams will advance to week 16, where you'll have to go up against 5 other people. And if you're the highest scoring team, you'll advance to week 17, where you'll have to go up against 116 other people. But if you win, it's $40 into $50,000. If you get second place, it's $40 into $35,000. Third place, $27,000. A fourth place, $20,000. Fifth place, $15,000. Sixth place, $10,000. All the way down the line, you can see all the prizes here. And we get the 105. And yeah, we're probably not taking Justin Jefferson. I'll throw that out there right now. But let me just pull up the Underdog Twitter so we can get a little sense of all of the news and all the reports that have come out today. But again, not a lot of it's good. And there's a lot to discuss. So anyway, we get a report coming out of Detroit that Jahmyr Gibbs is usually the first running back on the field with the starters. Past years, you'd see David Montgomery get the first bulk of the carries before Gibbs takes the field. So obviously, there's been a growing sentiment of people putting Jahmyr Gibbs as their running back 1. Let me look at where the experts on flogfantasy.com currently have the running back rankings. So right now, the average expert ranking does have Jahmyr Gibbs slightly ahead of Saquon Barkley. It looks like Danny has Gibbs RB2, Corey has Gibbs RB2, Nathan has Gibbs RB1, Avery has Gibbs RB2, Zach has Gibbs RB3, and I have Gibbs RB3 as well. So looks like the majority of the people on the site have Jahmyr Gibbs ahead of Barkley. And I think you're going to see that continued trend, and you actually see that in this draft here with Jahmyr Gibbs going off at 4. I'm going to take Saquon Barkley over Justin Jefferson at this point. If you look at my updated rankings on the site, you will see that I have recently moved Justin Jefferson down to the 6th spot. And you actually have some other creators like Danny has Puka Nacua now ahead of Justin Jefferson, which is an interesting note. So going over and looking at the Broncos split, you have RGRV, J.K. Dobbins, have routinely rep with the first team offense. Julian McLaughlin is an absolute zero. Don't worry about him. Going over and looking at some stuff that's maybe a little more important. You have some positive buzz coming out about Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden's been running with the 1s. I still stand by. I am Matthew Golden over Jaden Reed, both in best ball and in redraft. DJ Giddens could potentially get some 3-down work. Definitely DJ Giddens looking like one of the best round 17 picks. This is concerning for sure. Najee Harris still doesn't have a timetable for his return back to practice. July 4th was almost a month ago. How is Najee not back? How is this still something that we are having to deal with? So Najee Harris has been one of the biggest fallers in drafts. Amari Hampton's been one of the biggest risers. And I would not be surprised if that doesn't keep happening. And now with the Justin Jefferson stuff, Kevin O'Connell on Justin Jefferson's hamstring injury sitting out until the regular season. I have zero worry about the opener, but there's a lot of time between now and then. What that looks like, we're going to be smart, but at this same time, he just wants to get back in there. If it was not for the Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford, well, I guess it's just the Matthew Stafford back injury, I think I'd be quick to put Puka ahead of Justin Jefferson. For the time being, I'm going to keep Justin Jefferson at 6. But again, I would take Gibbs, I would take Barkley, I would take Lamb, I would take Bijan, and I would take Jamar Chase all ahead of Justin Jefferson. And now let's see A.J. Brown off the board, and let's see what we are going to be working with. We decided to go Barkley out the gate, so taking Brock Bowers and Saquon Barkley feels like a straight-up cheat code. I'm going to be super, super happy about that and will not pass up on it for a second. So let's see. Marshawn Lloyd diagnosed with a groin injury. So Marshawn Lloyd getting injured yet again. That happened yesterday. The groin report probably a little positive in comparison to what it could have been. But Marshawn Lloyd's problem his rookie season was the dude was not able to stay healthy. So this is not encouraging for that. So we have another report coming out of Minnesota that's saying that Jordan Mason will be in a relatively equal workload split with Aaron Jones. That may or may not just be coach speak. It's difficult to know if that's going to be something that's legit. And I think that's about everything that has come from this. But please let me know and Hampton goes at 27, which I am not going to fault too many people there. I'm going to take JSN ahead of these other receivers. I'd probably rather have Lamar and Trey McBride over Jackson Smith and Jigba, but the issue is we took Brock Bowers with this team. We can't take McBride. And we've gotten 0 wide receivers the first 2 rounds. So getting the elite quarterback there at 29 would feel like a little bit of a stretch. But, dear God, this is a little scary, to say the least, with everything happening. I mean, we talked about a while ago, if Najee was out for the year, Hampton would be a 2-3 turn pick for me. Which, every day that goes by and we're told we have no timetable on Najee. It's been a month. He still can't get out there. It looks scarier and scarier for Najee Harris. But if you remember early in the offseason when we were drafting these teams, you're able to get Amari and Hampton at the 4-5 turn, which is really interesting. And I know in round 18, a lot of people have been talking about Jalen Nailor with the Jordan Addison suspension, and I've been downplaying, saying I don't care about Ty Felton, I don't care about Jalen Nailor. But if now you have both the potential Jordan Addison suspension and a Justin Jefferson injury, I think you probably have to move TJ Hawkinson up, and maybe Jalen Nailor becomes interesting in round 18, or Ty Felton, whoever you prefer. Now, obviously in your regular redraft league, you won't have to worry about any of those wide receivers. I'm never going to be telling you to start Jalen Nailor. Even if we get to week 1 of redraft season and we're having to submit starting lineups and we have no Justin Jefferson, which he will be out there week 1, or at least that's what we're being told, and we had no Jordan Addison due to suspension, I would still not have Jalen Nailor ranked anywhere inside my top 30 wide receivers, and you would not be starting him in week 1 in your regular redraft league. However, Underdog Best Ball is a little bit different since you're not having to submit your starting lineup. That player would automatically slide in if he has a big week, and if he has a dud, who cares? So, like in a best ball draft, obviously a player like Jalen Nailor actually does matter. Okay. So James Cook off at 41. We are probably going to go with the wide receiver here. And again, of course, I want to remind y'all, we are drafting on Underdog Fantasy. In my opinion, by far and away the most fun thing that you can be doing if you are sitting here like fantasy football on July 29th. I'm going to take DJ Moore. I don't know if we can afford the Rashee Rice suspension with only having JSN at receiver. But best ball, no time commitment at all during the year. So I draft hundreds of teams every offseason. So I won $150K back in the day. And if you use promo code FLOCK when you sign up to Underdog Fantasy, you will get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. And at the same time, you will get all of our 2025 Fantasy Football Draft Guide cheat sheets sent to the email address that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with and made that $10 deposit. And just in case you didn't see the live stream yesterday or the day before, maybe it was yesterday. When did we put these out? We put these out 2 days ago. If you're a paid member of flockfantasy.com, those sheets are already available to you on the recent post section. Just go to the 2025 Flock Draft Sheets. Again, this is not something that's meant for you to study for your drafts. This is something that's meant for you to take to your drafts. Look at the directory. Go, okay, I'm playing on Yahoo. I have 10 teams in my league. It's a full PPR. We start 7 total guys. So I'm going to use sheet 25. And then you go ahead and you scroll down here and then you scroll to sheet 25. And then this will be your sheet to take to your draft. So they're all custom to the platform that you're drafting on, to your exact league settings, whether it's PPR, non-PPR, half PPR, to the exact amount of teams in your league, as well as to the exact amount of DK Metcalf goes. I honestly, I'd rather have Devonta Smith over George Pickens, even with Saquon Barkley in the squad. But it's all custom, because if you're looking at how wide receivers versus running backs should be valued, it's very different in a 10-team league where you start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, in comparison to a 12-team league where you start 2 wide receivers and 2 flexes. So, took us a ton of work. We're going to update them every single week. And I haven't emailed them to the people that use promo code FLOCK on Underdog just yet, because I'm going to be adding the Superflex sheets in there that I've been working on over the past few days. And then once we are completed with those, you'll get an email. I don't want to have to email you and then email you the Superflex sheets right after. I'd rather email you as least as possible. Okay. Gavin, I know you've been with us for a long time. Welcome, my friend. And yeah, we've definitely had more injuries this offseason than what we dealt with last offseason, for sure. KSM says, will the cheat sheets help in a half PPR auction draft? So they're not going to have any auction values for you, to be completely honest. Auctions are just going to be so dependent. Like, the details of your league settings are going to... There are so many additional variables that it's impossible for me to make auction values for your exact league settings that I can be very confident with. Like, the sheets will definitely help in terms of giving you a good, like, big board and allowing you to figure out what positions you need to be targeting with certain budget ranges, but you're not going to have exact dollars to spend on players. Raphael says, best ball community loves Pickens. Why don't you, Mason? I think the best ball community player takes are honestly some of the worst. I think game theory wise, best ball drafters are pretty good, but when it comes to player takes, I could care less. Like, realistically, I literally thought as I was eating dinner tonight that I need to tweet this out, because I was in a slow draft on Underdog, and then I looked at Pickens versus Smith, and I was like, how the hell am I ever supposed to take Pickens over Smith? You want to see something fun? Let's look at George Pickens over the past 2 seasons, and let's look at Devonta Smith over the past 2 seasons. George Pickens over the past 2 years has been the wide receiver 39 in points per game, a mid wide receiver 4, and Devonta Smith wide receiver 18. Smith, higher snap rate, more targets per game, higher target share, more receptions per game, more receiving touchdowns per game, higher yards per target, and running more routes per game. The only thing that George Pickens beats him on is receiving yards per game and yards per route run. So I understand that you do have the upgrade with the offense for Pickens going from Pittsburgh to Dallas, but at the same time, there's no way that Philadelphia runs the ball as much this year as they did last year. Yeah, exactly. The Eagles are going to throw the ball more this year. Obviously, George Pickens will be in a better passing offense at the same time. I'm going to go Pacheco. We're going to play it safe. We'll see how far Mixon falls, but as of now, Mixon's been falling to the 80s. So let's get Pacheco as our RB2, and I like this team so far. Running back 1, Barkley. Running back 2, Pacheco. The elite tight end with Brock Bowers. Wide receiver 1, JSN. Wide receiver 2, DJ Moore. Wide receiver 3, Devonta Smith. Wide receiver 4, Jordan Addison. So let's go. Decent team. And like I said, I think Hawkinson gets a bump with all the injuries that, not just the injuries, but the injury to Jefferson and the potential suspension for Addison. Okay. Josh Downs, and I just got an email that the draft board for the Flock League that I ordered is on its way. Hell yes. Gio says you passed on Igbuka. Yeah, Igbuka has been a massive riser with the Godwin injury stuff. Like, you were seeing Igbuka consistently go ahead of Godwin in drafts at this point. I think Pacheco is going to be a riser as well. Okay. Baker Mayfield goes 85. Brian Robinson goes 86. And Joe Mixon falling to pick 88 in this draft. Yeah, I think you should be very excited if you're getting Mixon there. And I probably need to move Mixon even further in my rankings on the site. Like, I already made that dramatic adjustment once we got the news that Mixon still dealing with this injury, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I went ahead and I moved Nick Chubb up to 120 overall in our redraft rankings. Best ball, it's a little bit tougher with Chubb because you take him, you're stuck with them all year. God, Pittman dealing with a groin injury now is labeled day to day. We're going to take Pittman over Mooney. Mooney right now, what they're saying is the status for week 1's uncertain. Training camp's been open for like a week. The Hall of Fame game hasn't even happened yet. Okay. And this is the amount of crap we have to deal with. Tristan says, would you take Mixon at pick 88? Then yes, I would take Joe Mixon at pick 88. So I just updated my Mixon rankings on the site. Let's see. I moved Joe Mixon down to 76, if you sort by my rankings, as RB29. His average expert rank on the site has him at RB23, but I'd imagine as the other guys continuously update their rankings, that's just going to keep falling. Kevin says he's seen Mixon go in the 120s today. I know I already flexed on y'all with this, but once that, I don't know how it is after the past few days, because I don't know if we've taken Nick Chubb after the Mixon news. And I know the coaching staff came out and they had a statement which sounded like they're not that excited about Nick Chubb at the moment. But yeah, it's still the same case. Here are my 5 most invested into players according to, sorted by entry fees on Underdog. First, let me figure out who we're taking. I'll take Darnell Mooney at pick 101. We still kind of need some help at receiver with going Barkley, Bowers in the first 2 rounds. But for a best ball team, JSN, DJ Moore, Devonta Smith, Jordan Addison, Michael Pittman Jr., Darnell Mooney seems like a damn good wide receiver room. Let's pull this up. So these are my 5 most invested into players from an entry fees perspective in Underdog drafts. Devonta Smith 1, we take him again here. Bo Nix 2, Nick Chubb 3, the Big Q 4, and Jalen Hurts 5. So big statement with this. I think the Philadelphia Eagles may throw the ball more this year. I think people were crazy to draft Quentin Johnson. For how cheap he was going back in April and May, he was the clear best pick on the board. Kind of similar to last year. And Nick Chubb, we were fading Joe Mixon earlier in the year. So I know, like I said, coaching staff came out. Didn't sound like they were super, super excited about Chubb right now, but it's if you look at Woody Marks is a 3rd down back. Woody Marks is not going to be touching the ball in the first 2 downs. So Andrew says he got Mixon at pick 110. If Mixon's going after pick 100, I'll take a lot of Joe Mixon. Right now, we are very much overweight Nick Chubb. Very much underweight Joe Mixon. Not that underweight. I got 7.9% Joe Mixon. Not nearly as much as Nick Chubb as I do. But we'll see. Nick says, any movement with Malik Neighbors now with the shoulder injury? Neighbors goes here pick 10. In the draft we were in yesterday, I think somebody took Neighbors at like 6 out of Jefferson. Move this down. Bateman 112. Christian Kirk 113. Scat off. Quinshon Judkins just keeps falling. God dang. F it. I'll take Charbonnet instead. How far is this dude going to fall? I've drafted a lot of Quinshon Judkins. Thank God he's not my 5th most in my top 5 in terms of entry fees. but where is he? He is probably like 30th. Running back wise, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's my 10th most invested into running back, sorted by entry fees on Underdog. So we already got a lot of them. And so, I mean, as we see this kind of fall, it's just brutal. Herbert goes 120. Okay, what's going to happen here? Interesting dynamic. I mean, you have Luther Burden, obviously, with the negative buzz as well coming out of Chicago. Burden does indeed end up going at pick 122. And yeah, I would 100% take Burden there. There's no way in hell you can take Marvin Mims, Hollywood, or Kyle Williams ahead of Luther Burden. And y'all know I'm not a super big Luther Burden guy. Tajay Spears goes 124. We will take McCarthy. We need a quarterback. I mean, if McCarthy would have gone before us, I would have taken Judkins. But we have Jordan Addison. We have no quarterback. So McCarthy is kind of the clear play. There's no way in hell McCarthy makes it back around to us. Arthur says, didn't get the live notification. Is there a certain time you go live every night? If I was smart and if I was 22-year-old Mason, where if y'all don't know, like 22-year-old Mason was a well-oiled machine, a freaking robot, like worked 12 hours every day, even during the off season, loved every second of it, worked like, I would have a certain time and I would go like, this is the time we're going live every night. But with my old age, I've gotten soft. I've gotten too comfortable, too lazy. I go live after I eat dinner. If I eat a late dinner, I go live late. If I eat an early dinner, I go live early. But I'm sorry. I wish I had an exact time for you. It would definitely help these live streams. It would probably help us on YouTube, but I'll promise y'all one thing. I'm live streaming every day until 2026. I can't tell you what time it is, though. Now, of course, if y'all hit the bell next to the subscribe button, YouTube should tell you when I go live. Now, if you don't want YouTube sending you that message, then don't do that. But if you want YouTube sending the message, just hit the bell next to the subscribe button. Now, Javonte goes off the board to 136. And God, it's just crazy. Like these players that are falling that have no signs of slowing down their fall. Like Judkins, 131. I used to like taking this dude like 60 picks before this. We're going to take Michael Penix. We need another quarterback. We're going to draft 3 with this team, and we have Darnell Mooney. So the Michael Penix selection, very much an easy one for us to make. And I like the team. It's been awkward in some spots, seeing some of these massive falls and just having to adjust. Desire Best has had to take Judkins at 131, but it's painful. I mean, yeah, you're trying to win 50K, right? So I would have taken Judkins if he would have made it to us for sure. Like, or if McCarthy would have gone off the board, I would have taken Judkins. But quarterback right now, we have J.J. McCarthy stacked with Jordan Addison. I have Michael Penix stacked with Darnell Mooney. Running back, we have Saquon Barkley, Isaiah Pacheco, Zach Charbonnet. We have the elite tight end with Brock Bowers. And wide receiver, we have JSN, DJ Moore, Devonta Smith, Jordan Addison, Michael Pittman Jr., Darnell Mooney. If this was a redraft team, I would hate it because I'd have no idea when to start these wide receivers. But with this being best ball, I think we're in a pretty good spot as well. Victor says, will you be doing a mock on the Flock website? Yes, we will. And I have exciting news. So at the end of this live stream, we'll do a regular redraft mock draft on flockfantasy.com, and the drafts on flockfantasy.com are kind of hitting exponential growth mode, where hopefully it hasn't been as long for y'all to wait to actually see those draft rooms in the public lobby get filled. And we've hit over 20,000 drafts completed on flockfantasy.com already, which is crazy. So Um, hopefully y'all been enjoying those. Hopefully they've been helping you prep. We'll take the falling value with Ray Davis. I don't know if there was a report that came out about Ray Davis that has him falling this far for a reason, but seems like he's probably the RB2 if anything happens with James Cook. But yeah, obviously, if y'all wanted to just do like regular redraft mock drafts, we posted these public mock draft lobbies on flockfantasy.com where you can go and do these for completely free whenever you want. Just go at PPR, non-PPR, half PPR, whatever you're wanting to join. Or you can do a draft simulation where you draft against bots, or you can start a private draft, invite your friends, whatever you wanted to do there. Okay. Greasy Potato says, will Terry sign a contract before the season starts? This is a good question to ask y'all. Okay. When is the last time we had a star player hold out and not sign a deal and not play at the beginning of the year? Genuine question. Like, please let me know. I can't think. Like, every year we have holdouts. Every year they get deal done. I mean, they get the deals done. We got Ayuk, Lev Bell, Taylor, Le'Veon Bell. Like, yeah, Le'Veon Bell is like the last guy I can think of. Is that a decade ago? So contract stuff like that really never worries me. Now, of course, with that in mind, if you drafted Brandon Ayuk last year, you got crushed. Don't get it twisted. You didn't get crushed because he got injured. You were going to get crushed regardless. The dude had one game with over 10 fantasy points like through 6 weeks. Isaiah Likely. I think we're going to go Chubb. I understand that people are sitting here going like, oh, did you hear the coaching staff say that Chubb's not as athletic as he once was, that he's looking slow, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sitting here telling you that Nick Chubb's going to be a running back one, but I do think you'll get usable weeks in best ball. And ripperoni pepperoni, we just saw Sam Darnold, who we were going to be targeting in round 15 to pair up with Jackson Smith and Jigba, go immediately after. So. Root Dog says, can someone explain basketball tournaments to me? If there are so many entries, how do you compete against that many people? Exactly. So did this at the beginning of the live stream. After we make our pick here, I'll explain it again. Mr. Picklehut Fader says, Deshaun Watson held out on the Texans after 2020. Then he didn't play all year and the Browns picked him up after, and look what happened. So I'm not a historian. I'm not an academic. I can't even say the word. But if my simpleton brain is correct about something, it does seem like there's one thing different about Deshaun Watson and Terry McLaurin. I'm going to reach dramatically on Anthony Richardson here to get him unstacked as our QB3, because I do think that we are going to get some pretty nice spike weeks from him. Looks like he is on track to be the starter week 1. Now, do I think he's going to start all season? No. But we have Michael Pittman Jr. I'd be fine having him unstacked, to be honest. So, while it's a big reach, we're going to do it anyway. Who cares? Lil Leo says, when's the Flock vid coming out? The Flock League video is going to be coming out hopefully later this week. It's a big edit. We're trying to make the video really cool for y'all. We got the Ladster out here, who obviously made an appearance in that video. Denny, I was checking in on the site on the rankings, and I was seeing where I needed to move Justin Jefferson, and I saw you officially moved Puka ahead of him, which I may have to consider doing the same. But Mason Taylor goes 182. We are going to be taking 2 more receivers, and then a tight end. Oh yeah, I completely forgot to explain like how a best ball tournament works. We'll do that in 1 second. Let's make our selections here. Lotzer says, yes, sir. Even if the Stafford news is bad, I'll switch it, but I think he has a higher ceiling. Yeah, that was my hold up on it. I'm going to take Michael Wilson here. I just like the fact that he'll be in 2 wide receiver stats for best ball. But if it wasn't for the Stafford injury, I think I'd be there with you. But anyway, so if you're sitting here, like they're small. If you're new to Underdog, do not get in this tournament. This is too expensive. Do the $4 tournaments. But like as an example for this tournament, if you're wondering like, how the hell am I going up against 11,000 other people? In the regular season, weeks 1 through 14, your draft is only going to be going up against the 11 other drafts you went against and like you drafted against. And the 3 highest scoring teams from this draft will advance to a fantasy football playoff tournament where there you'll all of a sudden start going up against people that were in other draft rooms. So you'll be placed against 7 other people in week 15 that advanced out of their regular season. And the 2 highest scoring teams will advance to week 16, where you'll go up against 5 other people. And if you are higher scoring than them in week 16 and week 17, you'll go up against 116 people. And if you are the number 1 place, you win 50,000. Second place, you win 35,000, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so now we are still just wide receiver and tight end. Kind of no matter what, we are just going to take 1 tight end here. Ferguson goes 195. Y'all know I like Ferguson, so we will just pivot to Dalton Schultz instead, get a boring option, and send up a prayer that Brock Bowers just absolutely crushes for us. And we will just queue up some wide receivers. I've been queuing up a decent amount of Roman Wilson. I don't think Alec Eomanor is the worst pick here. Alec Eomanor actually does go before we can get him. I think Tyler Lockett's decent. We'd go DeAndre Hopkins if he makes it. We'll take Adonai Mitchell for a potential stack. And then, dear God, Tolbert's fallen. I don't think we can take that dude anymore. Oh, then who am I kidding? Jalen Naylor all of a sudden is very appealing. We'll move Jalen Naylor to the top. And then we'll just queue up the other wide receivers to make sure that we get somebody. But let's bounce to another Underdog draft. We're going to get into another $40 Underdog draft. Because we do the free mock drafts on the live stream every night on flockfantasy.com, I don't feel the need as much to do like the super small buy-in $4 Underdog tournaments on stream. So I'm sorry that we're doing kind of the higher buy-in Underdog drafts as of late on stream, but this is like a 10 entry max. I do want to try to max it out if I can. And specifically the Chihuahua tournament. It's like, it would be something I'd be very interested in to practice like back in May, June, July. But now that we're getting into August here, I think we just got to run with it. Okay. We got Nick in this draft with us at 8. Vinny says, Mason, with Lance starting the Hall of Fame game on Thursday, is he going to be your number 1 QB? No lie, I am very excited to watch the Hall of Fame game for that reason. I don't know if we're going to stream during the Hall of Fame game, after the Hall of Fame game, before it. But we'll see. We'll see. Tyrone says, do you think you make more money from the actual drafts or your YouTube donations? I definitely make more money from the business side of it than drafting. Like last year on Underdog, we had great results. Like our advance rates were crazy high. I actually got a team to the Best Ball Mania finals, which gave us a shot to win like $2 million. And obviously if week 17 bounces in your way, it's really cool and it'd be life-changing. But the nature of these tournaments, the way that it's set up is with the payouts being extremely heavy to the very top, it's like you either are kind of set up to win a ton of money or set up to lose a little bit of money. And so last year on the whole, if you look at our large sample, I feel like we actually did a really good job, but we still ended up losing money last year in drafts. So like, I would not be able to do this if it wasn't for like the YouTube business side of things. We're going to take McCaffrey. I think I would make an argument. Actually, who am I kidding? I was taking McCaffrey before the Stafford back injury. We're taking McCaffrey regardless. But yeah, I would not be able to draft this many dollars in drafts if I was not, one, making money from the YouTube side of things, and two, sponsored by Underdog. But after we take McCaffrey, and shout out us making money on Underdog, McCaffrey won us $100,000 in a tournament, which was nice. Isaiah, yes, the winning fan has been picked for the Flock League, and I've already met with him and got his flights to come down to Austin. So everything is all locked in for him to take that spot. Okay. So it doesn't look like there are too many. Oh, never mind. I was going to say there aren't too many crazy things happening in this draft, but Josh Jacobs going at 13 is one of those. And I actually like the play. Well, obviously I'm not going to have Josh Jacobs ranked ahead of like Brian Thomas. I kind of want to put him ahead of Derrick Henry this year for the bit, but y'all would hate me for it. So we're not gonna. The reason, and I'm obviously not ranking him ahead of Ashton Genty, but the reason it could make sense in this tournament is Amon-Ra St. Brown in every single one of these drafts is going to go at the 1-2 turn over here. And Josh Jacobs in every single one of these drafts is going to go at the 2-3 turn. So with the 5% scenario that we just need a wide receiver, we will take A.J. Brown. And A.J. Brown's also the guy that was, these were our first two picks when we won the $100,000 tournament on Underdog. But like the 5% scenario that Josh Jacobs and Amon-Ra St. Brown are both top 2 wide receivers and running backs in weeks 15 through 17, because they never get drafted together, literally ever. Even if it's only a 2% chance or whatever it may be, if you're the only team with both of them and they're both the guys that you need, like you become completely different from the rest of the field. So it seems crazy to take Josh Jacobs over Ashton Genty, and it would be ludicrous if you did so in your regular redraft league. But considering the tournament aspect of this, it is a little interesting wrinkle that you can get away with. King Rube says, if you like the play, why do we never see you doing something like that? Full transparency, I'm mentally weak. And if I did something like that on YouTube, even if I like the play, I'm going to have so many people that don't understand the reasoning behind it screaming at me how stupid I am and how I should never take Josh Jacobs over Ashton Genty, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to have to deal with it. So because I don't want to have to battle the trolls, I'm never going to do it, at least on a live stream. Devontae Adams goes. So y'all know I'd take Josh Allen here. We're going to take Garrett Wilson. I think that there are going to be less combos of Garrett Wilson, AJ Brown than there will be otherwise. And also, while I do like the elite quarterback and Josh Allen over Garrett Wilson for the majority of our builds, whenever we take AJ Brown in round 2, we can take Jalen Hurts in round 4. We took Jackson Smith and Jigba ahead of Garrett Wilson in the last draft, but we are kind of in a different area of the draft board with a different construction so far. And yeah, like I would say our round 2 pick was Drake London instead. I would take Josh Allen here. If we started like CMC, Drake London, I'm going to go Josh Allen at round 3. But since we took AJ Brown in round 2 and we could probably get Jalen Hurts at pick 42, we are just going to go with the Jalen Hurts. CH says, Mason, do you partake in preseason DFS? No, I would get absolutely crushed. If y'all think I'm a whale in the best ball streets or a fish, whatever you want to call me, you can't even imagine how bad I would be if I try to sit there and project out playing time for meaningless players in DFS. In preseason games. Like, I would get unbelievably crushed. Vinny says, how far do you downgrade Rams players if Jimmy G starts some games? So the easier way for me to answer this question is you tell me Jimmy Garoppolo is starting week 1, and over on flockfantasy.com, I have to set my week 1 wide receiver rankings, where do I rank Puka Nacua and where do I rank Devontae Adams? If Matthew Stafford wasn't the starting quarterback, they would both still be must-start wide receivers for me in fantasy. I would probably have Puka as a wide receiver 2, though, and I'd probably have Devontae Adams as a wide receiver 3. We'll take Jalen Hurts here to pair up with A.J. Brown, like we said in the last round. Yes, Mason's a guppy. And preseason DFS, I would be a guppy. I would be chum in the water, to be honest. I'd be a guppy that got put into a sardine can. Okay, George Pickens goes 44. TT Warrior says Kyron in round 4 there is sick. Yeah, so I actually have drafted a lot of Kyron in underdog drafts because his price is so cheap. And like I said, I have him ranked ahead of Breece Hall. But whenever I did the research for those Flock draft sheets, which again are currently live on flockfantasy.com, and I also did the research for the 2025 ADP consensus ADP, what's very interesting here is, I'm not going to open up the entire sheet, but if you look at Kyron Williams goes to pick 23 in like ESPN drafts. So in your redraft leagues, Kyron Williams goes at like at the end of the second round. So I love Kyron in round 4 of underdog drafts. I'm going to take him there as much as I can. But the 2-3 turn in redraft leagues, like Chase Brown's cheaper in ESPN draft. Chase Brown's cheaper in a Yahoo draft. So I actually just recorded a video explaining why if you're in your redraft league, you should take Chase Brown instead. And yes, the FSE guys absolutely hate Kyron Williams, which they actually just put out an interesting 0 RB video. Let me show this just in case y'all want to watch it. They actually just got some new graphics for their videos too. Pull this up. Fantasy Stock Exchange. This is their channel. Obviously, if you watch the Flock League, you know them. And they just put out this interesting video here about 0 RB. But if you look at their rankings on the site, you will see that they are low. They're way too low on Kyron. Don't listen to them. Because Kyron does have interesting things with this profile for sure. So Kamara goes 56. And I like Waddle here as our wide receiver 3. Again, I never drafted Waddle in round 5, really. And if you actually go back like 2 months ago to expose myself here for taking Waddle a lot in round 5 now, 2 months ago we put out a video going over my 5 least drafted wide receivers on Underdog, and Waddle was on that list. But that was also before the Jonnu Smith trade. So post Jonnu Smith trade, I actually like taking Waddle here in the middle of the 5th round a lot more. That NFL guy says, Mason, please stream after the Hall of Fame game. That would be so perfect. Thoughts and reactions after would be nice. I will. Let me see. NFL. That game's going to be at 7. Yeah, F it. I'll probably start streaming at like halftime or so. Watch a little bit of, I don't know. Watch a little bit of our guy Lance and then come fire some hot takes. Okay, Olave goes 94. Jennings goes 65. We're not going to take Burrow. We're not going to take Mixon. We're Debo, Judy, Swift, Myers, Montgomery. There are a bunch of wide receivers we could go with on the way back. Did we take Swift? Yeah, we're going to go DeAndre Swift here, which I feel like we don't do very often, but knowing myself, I'm very likely to take a wide receiver here at pick 79. So we can mix it up. We can reach on to DeAndre Swift selection, which Swift used to go rounds cheaper than this earlier in the offseason. Okay. Preston says, where do I get a draft guide and how much does it cost? So all those draft cheat sheets that we have, usually an annual subscription to flockfantasy.com is about $100. However, do not get that, to be honest with you. because either later tonight during this live stream, the devs have been working day and night on it for a long time now, or tomorrow morning, there will be a deal that gets dropped on flockfantasy.com where you can get access to the entire season, including all the draft guides, not only from myself, but the guys at Fantasy Stock Exchange, the guys at Domain, the guys at Land, for $34. So it's by far and away the cheapest thing we've ever offered on the site. And I was hoping it would be live for y'all tonight, and maybe it will be at the end of this live stream, which I'll let you know. But I'm going to take Matthew Golden here, getting the positive buzz coming out of Green Bay. And again, I preferred Golden over Reed all offseason. But yeah, wait until hopefully later tonight or tomorrow morning. It'll be the cheapest that we've ever had it. You'll get access to flockfantasy.com and all the exclusive rankings, all the exclusive content, and all the tools and stuff from the time you purchase it until January 1st, 2026. And you will also get free start sit questions and trade questions from myself if you use promo code FLOCK. RS German, yes, Superflex rankings are going to be in the draft guide. The draft sheets, and you can also get the draft cheat sheets for cheaper if you are in a state that has Underdog Fantasy. This is the map of the states that Underdog is in, and you make a $10 deposit with promo code FLOCK. You're not going to get everything else that's on flockfantasy.com, but if you're only interested in the draft guide cheat sheets that I put out, if you use promo code FLOCK on Underdog Fantasy and make a $10 deposit, those will get emailed to the email address that you signed up to Underdog Fantasy with. Okay. Goff goes 85, super early for Goff. So honestly, after seeing that team at 12 do that, I don't think that they were making some like crazy smart next level play, taking Josh Jacobs where they did. I think that they're just willing to go get their guys. And I was going to say I could be the fish in the room, but I was going to take Joe Mixon there at 90. Jordan Mason getting the positive buzz, saying he's split in the backfield, good offensive line improvements, blah, blah, blah. I'm still going to take Michael Pittman Jr. Mainly a best ball pick again. Your regular redraft league, how are you going to have the confidence to start Pittman? But in best ball, I definitely think we're going to get usable weeks. Gene, I'm sorry, there are no auction values in the cheat sheet. If you go ahead and if you pull up your exact league settings, though, in terms of scoring format, teams in your league, and your starting lineup size, you should be able to get a really good sense of where the teardrops are and the positional values that you should be attacking in your specific draft with your league settings. Okay. ETN says Hawkinson being drafted before Laporta and his $4 Chihuahua draft. Yeah, I would expect, like I said, Hawkinson to climb if we have both the Addison suspension and the Jefferson injury. Lazar says, not going to lie, the late 8th to 11th is disgusting at running back and receiver. Nobody I want to click on after Pittman's gone. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like wide receiver, it gets very, very gross. I don't think we needed to force a receiver there. But also at the same time, it's like Jordan Mason versus a couple of the running backs that are going to be in the upcoming rounds is kind of the same. MLB pitcher says he drove to the border of Connecticut and entered 20 to 30 Underdog slow drafts. That's crazy. Well, hope that you enjoy it, my friend, and hope that the drive ends up being worth it. Okay, Cooper Kupp off the board at pick 99. We are going to be in a decent little spot here. I have noticed Baker falling like a rock as of late. Ayuk goes 100. Baker goes 101. We take a second quarterback here. We're done at QB. So we're going to take Jalen Warren. Here's the thought process. Brock Purdy or Justin Fields would make sense for our team to pair up with either McCaffrey or Garrett Wilson. Justin Fields has been falling to the 10th round a ton lately in these drafts. But when we add the elite quarterback with Jalen Hurts, even though it's best ball and even though we are going to have to draft another QB, we still have some optionality with the late round quarterbacks that we could take with Tua for Jalen Waddle, with Jordan Love for Matthew Golden, or with Anthony Richardson for Michael Pittman. So we can pass on Purdy and Fields. And if we got a crazy value of either of them falling to us at pick 114, cool, I'll take them. But if we don't get that crazy value fall, then at the end of the day, we're not going to stress about it because we will have other options late. Okay. The Lazarus says Baker falling because Wirf's leg is cooked. Yeah, it's both. The offensive line now looking a little bit worse and the Godwin stuff, I think. Justin Fields goes 107. I'm not going to take anybody. I'm not going to fault anybody at all for taking an unstacked Justin Fields because he gives you the rushing upside. Chimo says, how much more valuable do tight ends get in a half-point tight end premium? My first time playing it, and I have no idea how to rank the elite tight ends. In a half-point tight end premium, if it's a full PPR format, it's not that big of a difference. It's not like all of a sudden you're going to be super excited to put a tight end into your flex spot. If you were in like a non-PPR league or if you were in a half PPR league, and then the tight ends are getting an additional half point per reception, there all of a sudden you actually should be pushing up tight ends dramatically. Just from a percentage of your starting lineup output perspective, that will make a pretty big difference. But if it's a full PPR league for all positions and then tight ends are just going to get a extra half point per reception, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, and what we may do, to be honest, is I may do 4 drafts tonight. Because I do want to get a mock draft in on flockfantasy.com, but at the same time, I'm actually having a decent amount of fun with these underdog drafts tonight with this new tournament. And I feel like we're crushing, and I want to keep rolling. So we're going to take J.K. Dobbins here as our 4th RB. TJ says Igbuka before Godwin in a $4 draft. Yes, I think that we are going to see Igbuka go before Godwin in the vast majority of drafts going forward, at least on Underdog. Like, it happens in this one as well. It happened in our first draft of the night. Like, it just seems like, I mean, Vinny's the one here who takes Igbuka over Godwin. The Lazarus says, we did the mocks for the video. Yeah, that video I showed y'all from Fantasy Stock Exchange. At the end of it, they did a practice mock draft where they tried to do a 0 RB draft, and they did it on flockfantasy.com, which you can use that draft simulation. And what we should have that's pretty exciting for that draft simulation coming out soon is you should actually get some photos of us out there for the mocks, which I'm excited about. Graham says, I joined Underdog with code FLOCK and deposited yesterday, but haven't gotten the draft guide yet. Is that normal? Yes, I am hopefully going to be able to get that out for y'all tomorrow or in 2 days. But I am still working on the Superflex sheets to add to everything. And I wanted to get the Superflex sheets done before I sent the initial round out for y'all. So if you use promo code FLOCK and made the deposit on Underdog Fantasy, hopefully I can get y'all that email in 2 days. Okay. So Javonte goes 125. Luther Burden's been a big time faller. But I've drafted little Luther Burden so far this year, but at the same time, there's no world in which I'm ever going to be taking Christian Kirk or Cal Williams over Luther Burden. So I'll take Luther Burden as a falling value here at 127. Good prospect profile. I think the land guys to open up the year actually had Luther Burden in Dynasty ranked over Tets, which I'm not telling you that's how you should value him. I'm just pointing out that people are very excited about Burden. Zach said he would sell his kidneys at 1,000 likes. Well, depending on the price, I may buy them. Quentin Johnston off the board at 122. Jaden Blue goes 133. Taji Spears 135. All right, what is going to happen here? Okay, we get Jordan Love. That's exactly what we wanted. We get Love to pair up with Matthew Golden. The second I took Luther Bird in the last round, I was like, oh, crap. Should I just taken Jordan Love? Are we not going to get him on the way back around? As there was the team right after us that had Jaden Reed, and I was concerned with them either going Luther Burden at 128 or 137, but instead they went Christian Kirk and then CJ Stroud. So us getting Jordan Love as our QB2 at pick 138 to pair up with Matthew Golden is an absolute no-brainer. Tyrone says, yo, that 8.7 earthquake in Russia is making a tsunami warning on the west coast of the U.S. Stay safe, everyone. Oh, that's scary. Let me look this up. What's going on? I like how I'm so tuned out of all of real life news that the only time I hear anything going on in real life, not fantasy football worlds, from y'all in the stream. So quarterback, we have Jalen Hurts stacked with A.J. Brown. We have Jordan Love stacked with Matthew Golden. Running back, we have Christian McCaffrey, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Warren, J.K. Dobbins. Wide receiver, we have A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Matthew Golden, Michael Pittman Jr., Luther Burden. I love this team. Let me search tsunami on Twitter. How serious is this? How do you spell tsunami? How did you do it? Okay. T-S-U. Okay. Tsunami. I got a tsunami warning on my phone, and there's almost no way to Google it if it's legit or not, because Tsunami Watch website is ass and probably underfunded. Okay, one of the most major quakes ever recorded underwater off the coast of Russia's Far East. Okay. So it looks like if there's a tsunami in the West Coast. Ooh, crap. We're on the clock. I would have been fine autoing Rashad White. Actually, would we rather have Dylan Sampson? Nah, I'd rather have Rashad White. I think Dylan Sampson is super interesting in a regular redraft league, but like, I don't know his odds of starting weeks 15 through 17. But people are saying that if there are tsunamis on the West Coast, it's going to be at like 3 a.m. Eastern, midnight there to 1 a.m. there, depending on where you are in the East Coast. Sorry, West Coast. Well, stay safe, everyone. Throw on the swimsuits. Grab a life vest. And that is scary. Let's smooth this down. Anthony Richardson going 155 is good for us. I mean, really, we're just done at quarterback when we have Love and Jalen Hurts, right? So as many quarterbacks off the board as possible, good for us. And I'd imagine most of y'all are on the West Coast, because usually I'm lazy and don't start this stream until very late. So either y'all are East Coast degenerates or West Coast people on acting normally. Isaiah Likely, back-to-back drafts falling a considerable amount here. Well, we just need wide receivers, tight ends. We'll take Isaiah Likely. I don't know if there's anything to happen for why you should be falling this far. Yeah, we're going to get into another underdog draft after this. I think we're going to do a total of 4 drafts tonight. Desire Best is likely is injured. All right. Well, that's great to know. Let me see exactly what's going on with Isaiah Likely. Easy Money says Norway Flock. Dear God. SMH says ankle today, out a couple of weeks. Oh, that's good to know. Well, wish I would have known that. I realistically would have taken him here regardless. Norway at 4 a.m. Okay. Let me know if you're Norway at 4 a.m. Are you an early morning riser? Or do we have to have a serious conversation here? Hopefully it's the former. Hopefully it's not the latter. Okay, Eckler 167. I mean, good for us to see any running backs off. When we're sitting with McCaffrey, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Warren, J.K. Dobbins, Rashad White, I'm not going to have to take another running back. Dylan says, hypothetically, if you win every single entry, how much money would you have? Are you saying, like, if you got first place in every underdog tournament? I would imagine, like, 5 million. Like, Best Ball Mania itself is 2 million. There are a ton of them. Easy Money Carson says, got Chase Puka in London, early morning riser. Okay. How the hell are you drafting in Norway? I'm gonna have to call the authorities. All right. We are wide receiver, tight ends. I honestly may prefer Michael Wilson straight up over like 35-year-old Adam Thielen, but it is what it is. We'll take Adam Thielen here. We have 3 picks left. Wide receiver, we have A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, Matthew Golden, wide receiver 4, Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver 5, Luther Burden, wide receiver 6, Adam Thielen, wide receiver 7. And, I forgot to, I need to start shouting out the Flock meetup in every draft. If you haven't seen already, if you haven't heard me say 1,000 times, we are having a Flock League meetup after the Flock League draft, August 17th in Austin, Texas. It's completely free to show up, be ready to have a good time. And you can see, and you're pretty much going to get paid to go there because I'm going to be giving you a bunch of free merch and stuff. And you can see the details on the screen right now. Pause it. You can see it. And I don't think there's anything else to say about it. Hopefully you can make it. Miles Sanders, 182. Can we go with the 6th running back? Or no, we need an 8th receiver. We'll take Jake here at tight ends as our second tight end option to pair up with Isaiah Likely. Desire Best, yes, he is flying in for it, and we are also going to get him to the actual draft itself, which, my guy, if you're flying in that late on Saturday, you are going to be having to haul butt to the draft. I'll tell you that much. Always Drints says he lives behind Revelry. Well, if you live there, you better be there. Gameplay says, hey, Mason, do you think you'll do any happy PR redraft mocks soon? Yeah, we can do that on flogfantasy.com tonight. Which I know any negs asking if we're doing a draft on the site tonight. We will. But we are probably going to have to get in one more underdog draft after this because, again, I'm going to try to max out this tournament myself. So I think this is going to be a 4 draft night. We're going to do a bunch of these. Okay. Rashad Smith, 195. Dalton Schultz goes 197. And tight ends here, you do have the fall off at this point where they're not that exciting. Wide receiver, I'm going to take Keenan Allen as our 8th option. We did get the report that Keenan Allen has been offered the spot on a couple different teams, and he's just holding out to see what his best option's going to be. And Jarquez Hunter goes 201. Y'all know who I like. Did he already go? Yeah, Terrence Ferguson is taken by the RC Colavini. Sadly, we're not going to get Terrence Ferguson in round 18. Okay, I think instead, like, the thing is, all these guys look like landmines now that you have Noah Fant as a potential, like, vulture for any of these players. Like Noah Fant went and visited Miami. He's went and visited New Orleans. So I don't know if we're that excited about, like, because if Noah Fant goes to Miami, there's no world in which I'd ever draft Darren Waller. Noah Fant goes to New Orleans, there's no world in which I'd ever draft Juwan Johnson. Slayton off at 207. Okay. I think we're going to take Theo Johnson in this. Have heard anything about Fant potentially going there, and he's not drafted in all of these. So we'll take Theo Johnson as our third tight end. We'll hope that he's decent. But overall, I like the draft. I think this was a solid squad. Maybe I could have talked myself. No, we needed to go with Keenan Allen. We needed to go with the extra receiver. Let's go ahead and let's hop into another one of these bad boys. Again, like I said, if you're new to Underdog, get in the Chihuahua. This is a $4 tournament that dropped a couple hours ago and already has 17,000 teams drafted. We are going to be in the Husky, though. And we are in this lobby. There are 10 spots open if anybody wanted to draft with us. And like I said, we will do a free draft on flockfantasy.com after this one as well, for just a regular redraft mock. Okay. Let's see. Where are we picking? We are at the end, which hopefully we get a, do we get 11 or 12? We get 12. Good. Feel like we haven't picked at 12 in a while. And at the same time, I really like the options that you get at the 1-2 turn. Now, like past round 4, it does get a little awkward in this range of the draft, but it is what it is. And yeah, Keenan to the Niners would make a ton of sense. I don't know if we've said that previously, but with all the injuries and all the uncertainty that you have with the Niners wide receiver room, and with Keenan Allen at the same time wanting to go to a contender, seems like a natural spot. Ben is in at 5 with code FLOCK, his first draft with you. Good luck. Good luck, my friend. And happy to go against you. Keenan to the Bills. The thing is, like, Shakir's just a better version of Keenan at this point. Nick says, did you enter into the rookies and sophomores tournament on Underdog? I did not. I am a very boring person. I don't do, like... I know that a lot of people really like the 6-person drafts, like the Badge Bros drafts. I am not doing any of those. I didn't do any of the rookies and sophomores. I'll do some of like the slows, the marathon, the sprint, stuff like that. But if it's like a completely different player pool or something, I'm not really doing it. Okay, CeeDee Lamb goes at 3. Barkley at 4. See where Jefferson ends up going in this draft. And also, please, if you have not done so already, go down there and hit that like button. I would very much appreciate it. Okay. Any next is 5 more spots open for a mock draft on flockfantasy.com. Join up. Yeah, obviously y'all don't have to just do the drafts with me. Y'all can, looks like there's 5 spots open in that 2025 PPR mock draft room if y'all wanted to get in one there. Achane goes to Vinny. Vinny is making sure that he can have as much Achane in these drafts as humanly possible. McCaffrey falls all the way down to 10. And yeah, Jefferson fell to 7 in this draft. Brian Thomas off the board at 5. Puka goes at 11, so we are just going to be boring, and we will take the combo of Nico Collins and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't think this should be a very common start. I think it's going to be difficult for people to be able to get this. And, ooh, this is exciting. Yeah, there's no way in hell I'm going to go Jacobs at 13 if we can get this start, because this is also very unique where I don't think many people are going to be able to start this way in their tournament, while at the same time, I don't really feel like we're sacrificing any upside here either. Brandon, I'm sorry you have to work me in a slow draft. I'm sorry about it. Frank says, Jefferson fallen is so concerning, and these people are very fortunate. I mean, we've seen a decent amount of people reacting to this like training camp news that we're getting across the board. Here's my theory on it. I think it's because, and by we, I mean the fantasy football community. Like the fantasy football community collectively underreacted to the McCaffrey news that we got this time last year. This time last year, we were being told, yeah, McCaffrey's dealing with something, blah, blah, blah. He'll be good to go for the start of the year. And clearly that wasn't true. Clearly what we should have done is we should have heard, oh, McCaffrey's dealing with something. Cross him off your board entirely. So I think people are very scared to make that same mistake that was made a year ago. So you're seeing like, again, the Mixon report comes out and Mixon falls 60 picks in some drafts. Then he says, H-Chan and AJ Brown's like blue cheese on a cheeseburger. Let's see. He says, so many wide receivers are getting injured right now. Worthy, Pittman, Jefferson, Hollywood, Pierce. Just name a few based on the blurbs from Underdog drafts. Yeah. Like last year, other than like the McCaffrey rumors, I don't really remember us sitting here like at the beginning of August, the end of July, and having this many question marks across the board. Because it's not like we're getting any concrete stuff with these players. The vast majority of them were being told like, oh, they're dealing with this, but they could be good. We don't know. Or like, oh, they're dealing with this. We don't know what to expect. We're going to take JSN and George Kittle. Like the Najee Harris example. We have no information. With Jefferson, we have limited information. With Darnell Mooney, I don't really know what to expect. With Quinshon Judkins, I have no idea what to expect. With Joe Mixon, I have no idea what to expect. Hell, we even have like guys like Rashee Rice, Jordan Addison that we're pretty certain they're going to get suspended, but we have no idea how long. So it feels like this is the first time in a long time that we don't have any clarity on these players. We'll see. Side note, I really like our start. Y'all know wide receivers in round 3. Typically, I'm reaching to take JSN over all these guys. So the fact that we get him at pick 36 is very exciting. And yeah, you are consistently seeing Amari and Hampton just go higher and higher, which I'm not going to fault anybody at all for taking Hampton in round 3. David says, how do you feel about Puka in fantasy with Devontae in town? I have no concerns whatsoever for Puka Nacua. I think Puka Nacua can still absolutely crush, regardless of if Devontae Adams is there. The only real concern that I have right now, again, going back to that uncertainty that we were talking about previously, is surrounding the Matthew Stafford injury. So we're going to just have to figure out, is Stafford good to go? If he is, we'll be fine. Okay. Joe Burrow, 49. Jameson goes 51. DJ Moore with the pretty big slide here. Mahomes 53 to the Rashee Rice team. not wasting any time, just going out there and getting their guy. But again, they went and got their guy with Brian Thomas at pick 5. And actually, I forgot, he's in this live stream with us. My guy, don't be reaching 30 picks to complete your stack by ADP. You're going to have to go up against other teams that have Rashee Rice and Patrick Mahomes as well. The only difference is they're going to get Patrick Mahomes at like pick 77 or 92. So like, don't do that. I mean, we definitely want to go get our stacks, but like, there are going to be other teams in this tournament that have that same player combo, but they're just going to have a much better wide receiver room because they were able to take a wide receiver in round 5 instead of Patrick Mahomes. Okay, let's see where Papa Drizzy goes. I think Poppy Drizzy is in these drafts with us a decent amount. Chuba Hubbard off. I will take Travis Hunter, and we'll be boring with James Conner. You know what is super exciting about this team? Nico Collins, week 8 bye. Amon-Ra St. Brown, week 8 bye. Jackson Smith-Njigba, week 8 bye. Travis Hunter, week 8 bye. You want to take a guess when James Conner's bye week is? Week 8. So 99% of the time, I would say all the money is up for grabs in weeks 15 through 17. I don't care about bye weeks. Let's just go for it. Oh, I'm sorry. Nico is bye week 6. Kittle's bye week 8. I apologize. But we are to the point with bye weeks with this team that, yeah, we should probably just go ahead and we should probably just be boring and decide to take some non-week 8 buys. Roble says, is the Flock membership a monthly subscription or a one-time payment? So right now, if you signed up for like the annual subscription or the monthly subscription on flockfantasy.com, it would be a subscription. However, again, what I said not to do that right now, if you're not going to use it in the offseason, if you don't play Dynasty, is hopefully before this live stream ends, which I will let you know for sure. But at the very worst case scenario, by tomorrow, we are going to drop something that's just a one-time payment that's not a subscription at only $34 to get you the access all the way until January 1st. So you can have all the draft guides to everybody. You can have everybody's rankings and the trade calculator stuff, the trade finder stuff and everything. So I know I apologize. I apologize for mixing up the bye weeks, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, so right now what's on flockfantasy.com, subscriptions, but the 2025 season pass won't be a subscription. It'll be a one-time purchase. OJ No Bronco says, Mason, have you ever kissed one of the homies on the forehead? I mean, every night when I tuck them to sleep. How else am I going to tell them good night? Okay. Stephon Diggs goes at 78. Let's move this down. So running backs are our biggest need at this point. Matthew Golden goes, which is kind of good for us to see the wide receivers off the board. Goes to 5. I'm hoping the submission video is going to come out soon. Joe Mixon goes 80. Jonathan says, Super Chats made you rich and this channel goated. What happened? I decided that we are just going to pull up your questions and answer them for free rather than do Super Chats. We're just going to double click the top. Actually, did we go Brian Robinson over Aaron Jones at this point? No, we're not going to. We are going to just click the top of ADP twice, get David Montgomery, Aaron Jones in here. We need running backs. I obviously understand that Montgomery's a faller based on the report that came out saying that Jahmyr Gibbs is working more with the ones than he has in the past. But I like the squad. Wide receiver Nico, St. Brown, JSN, Travis Hunter. Tight end George Kittle, and then running back James Conner, Dave Montgomery, Aaron Jones. And if y'all really want to support the channel, instead of doing it through super chats, just buy the $34 season pass on flockfantasy.com. Use code FLOCK. And that way I'll answer your start set questions and your trade questions during the season that way. Okay. Brian Robinson off 91. J.K. Dobbins goes 92. Tyrone says, Mason, any new merch? Yeah, if you're a part of the Discord, I'll pull this up. I sent this out in the announcements. I just ordered a ton of new hats. These aren't the only colors. We ordered additional colors as well, but like these are the logos that got put on them. And then there'll also be the Flock Fantasy on all the sides of them. There are more colors than that, but we ordered 400 of those. What I'm going to do is first, however many people come out to the meetup, everybody's going to get a hat. And then depending on the hat quality, I need to figure out if the person that we ordered these from, if they're good enough to do like a batch of 1,000. And then if they are really strong quality, then I'll order like 1,000 of them and just give them to the members of flockfantasy.com. That's what we did last year. If y'all remember, if y'all are a paid member of the site, I had that post on there that was like, hey, fill out this Google form and get a piece of Flock Fantasy merch. And then you went on there and you went like, you ranked all the merch that we had from your favorite to your least favorite. I did all like the tracking stuff, shipped everything out to y'all for free. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm not going to sell any merch, but we'll give it out to people at the meetup for free. And we will ship it out to the members of flockfantasy.com for free. Okay, let's move this down. Justin Fields off the board at 106. Brock Purdy's an auto pick for us. We have no quarterback and we have George Kittle. I think that's going to be very easy. Caleb makes no sense. May makes no sense. We could reach on Goff. And honestly, we are going to reach on Goff. F it. We have a couple Lions here. Am I that excited to take Shaheed? No. Am I that excited to take Bateman? No. So we're going to take Brock Purdy and Jared Goff. Okay. But like I said, with the flockfantasy.com stuff, don't sign up until we get the 2025 season pass out. Like if you play Dynasty, just full transparency. Like obviously, I would make more with people signing up to an annual Mother Flocker. That's like $96 versus the season pass is only $34. But if you play Dynasty Fantasy Football and you would use flockfantasy.com year round, I would 100% sign up for the annual Mother Flocker because that way you also get a free team review as well. However, if you are... the reason I'm saying this, I'm assuming most of y'all only play redraft since y'all are watching this live stream. If you are just interested for like the 2025 season, wait until later tonight or tomorrow morning whenever we drop the 2025 season pass, because it will get you access until January 1st. So you have access for the entire time that it matters to you, and it'll be much, much cheaper. Okay, we're going to do another draft after this one, but the next draft we do is just going to be a regular redraft mock. Card says, now that August is nearly here, when did the team review stream start? That's going to be a really tough thing for us to figure out this year. It's because y'all know the second that draft season's over and we have started the year, I'm going to be just streaming every single night, reviewing teams and answering questions from the members of the site. And what we've done in the past before the site was really set up and like people would have their teams linked and send in questions is I was just streaming drafts all the way until week 1 NFL kickoff and not doing anything else. But what's going to be awkward about it this year is y'all are going to have your teams linked, and I'm sure I'm going to be getting questions sent in before the season starts. So I honestly don't exactly know like how this is going to look the week before the season starts, when I'm sure people will be buying like team reviews and sending in teams for us to review on the live stream. And I'm still going to be wanting to do drafts. What I may do is we do 3 drafts on the stream and then we review teams and answer questions. We do like a draft and then we review a team. We do a draft, then we review a team. We do a draft, then we review a team. I don't know yet though. For sure, we're just going to be answering questions from members of the site, like, and then live stream every night once the season officially starts. I just don't know like when we're going to flip that switch. Okay. So far quarterback, we have Purdy and Goff. Running back, we have James Conner, David Montgomery, Aaron Jones. Wide receiver, we have Nico Collins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, JSN, Travis Hunter. And then we have George Kittle at tight end. Luther Burden off at pick 130. Njoku is clearly the best player on the board. We're going to take CJ Stroud as our third quarterback, call it a day at QB. I don't want Najee. I don't want Byshell Tootin. We're going to reach on either Dallas Goedert or Quentin Johnson. We'll take Dallas Goedert here, and we will call it a day at tight ends. So Desire Best says, do I have to pay for start set questions? Says Motherflocker. If you use promo code FLOCK when you signed up, you should have a free start set question voucher in your account. Vinny says, Mason killing me. Didn't think you'd do 3 quarterbacks in a row. Maybe if it was a larger field contest like the Chihuahua 4, this would be a little bit too much on quarterback. With this being a slightly smaller field contest, I'm more comfortable with going QB, pick 108, 109, 132. A says, is Juju a viable 18th rounder with the Rice news and potential other KC injuries? And then the same question with Noah Gray. Let me pull. Is Juju in our rankings? Let me figure this out. When is the last time Juju had a viable season for you? Okay. Here's my thing with Juju. You saw this dude all of 2024 with no Hollywood Brown and with no Rashee Rice. How many usable weeks did you get? 1. Why would he be any more interesting this year? He wouldn't. There's no interest in Juju Smith-Schuster around 18. Mr. Ski says you should create a Discord channel and add a page for people to post their teams. 1, we already have a Discord. Then you can review some of the teams that you'd stick out to you and why you do or do not like them. We review teams through flockfantasy.com all the time. So if you don't know, like once you draft your team, like here's a dynasty team that I have as an example. You can link it with the site and you can send this to me to review. Which I'm not doing that on the live stream right now just because it's more so draft season. Y'all don't have your teams yet, but we already have all that built out. It's much better than Discord screenshots. Because I can actually see all your league settings and stuff there. Ferguson off. Good for us. Again, we selfishly want to see is as many quarterbacks and tight ends off the board as we can possibly get. Tyler Algier goes 152. Dylan Sampson 153. Stout, great for us. See the Stafford pick. God, this draft's playing right to us. We're going to take Rachaad White here as a no-brainer selection. And then I'm going to take Leggett as our wide receiver 5. So here, wide receiver, I have Nico, Amon-Ra St. Brown, JSN, Travis Hunter, wide receiver 4, Leggett, wide receiver 5. Quarterback, I have Stroud with Nico, Goff with St. Brown, Purdy with Kittle. Tight end, we have Kittle and Dallas Goedert. And then running back, I have James Conner, David Montgomery, Aaron Jones, and Rachaad White. So I like this team. I like this team a lot. It's Void Reaper says, Mason, do you have any tips for individual defensive player leagues? So in general, if you're playing in an IDP league, the amount of defensive starters that you have to have going to be very important. If you're in an IDP league where you only have to start one linebacker, one defensive lineman, and one defensive flex and one corner, then really it doesn't matter. You can always go to the waiver wire and you're going to be able to find someone. However, if you have to get 4 linebackers into your starting lineup, then it actually becomes meaningful and you actually are going to have to dedicate resources to the positions. But like the thing is, I think most people who play in an IDP league play in leagues where you only have to start like one linebacker. And in reality, it just doesn't matter. Bulldog says, is Xavier Worthy wide receiver 1 now? I don't know how many times I have to try to convince y'all to take Xavier Worthy. Nick says, that's so extra. I have no interest in individual defensive players. I don't have any interest in them either. And if we all got together and tried to play a game, who can name the most defensive players in the NFL, I would probably be close to dead last out of everybody watching this right now. It would be embarrassing. Yeah, I've been on Worthy. I'm happy people are catching up here. The comment section on my latest video hated us for calling Worthy over Metcalf, though. But we'll stand by it. And yeah, the Flock League will have a defensive kicker again. Happens says, Mason, what's it like being the fan of the second best orange wearing UT in the SEC? Go Vols, and yes, I am delusional. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. It is true, I don't know ball. But we are just running back wide receiver through the rest of this draft. Jamie says, who's the least popular defensive player you know? I'm not going to embarrass myself like that. I'm not going to. Dowdle goes 177. Good for us to see Kate Otten off the board. Jalen McMillan is for sure going to be a selection here for us. We go McMillan, wide receiver 6. I think running back will be, well, we'll just take Jalen Wright. Get me anybody without a week 8 bye. And then we're going to take 6 running backs with this team. We'll take 6 running backs and 7 receivers. But I mean, our first 4 receivers were Nico, Amon-Ra St. Brown, JSN, Travis Hunter. And of course, we're trying to turn $40 into $50,000. So we are shooting for the stars here, and we're pretending that Travis Hunter is a viable wide receiver. And we see Malik Neighbors, a Brian Thomas, a Jamar Chase, a Justin Jefferson level rookie season from the player that just went at 2 overall in the NFL draft. Torsten says, will the link for the mock draft be here or on Discord? So how we've been doing the mock drafts on flockfantasy.com is we haven't been like creating a private draft and sending out a link. That's actually a good idea. Maybe we'll start doing that after we drop the season pass and just kind of do the mocks with the paid members of the site. But we've just been going into the public mock draft lobby with PPR drafts. Maybe we'll mix it up and do a half PPR draft, but we'll see. Happen says, will Cortland Finnegan be a viable in IDP this year? He's a young 41. Finnegan's one of the few players that I know because your boy did have Andre Johnson and was watching that Texans game live during that fight, which obviously is one of the best things to happen in the NFL that decade. Okay. Justice Hill goes 192. Slayton, Dalton Schultz. I've noticed Dalton Schultz going in round 18 and sometimes undrafted in these drafts lately. Yeah, our next draft we're gonna do will be a flockfantasy.com mock draft. Let's pull this over. Vinny on the clock, and we're just running back and wide receiver. We're going to take one more running back and one more receiver. So our running back room's not the best, right? I'm not going to sit here and act like it's horrible. James Conner, David Montgomery, Aaron Jones, Rashad White, Jalen Wright. As long as we can stay afloat here. Vinny takes Marshawn Lloyd. Vinny, I would be hesitant myself to be drafting Marshawn Lloyd at the moment with the groin injury and the injury history that we have with him overall. I'm not going to tell you can't do it, but I would be hesitant personally. Jawan Johnson goes 202. I really hope Jarquez Hunter's not anything this year because I haven't drafted this dude at all. We'll take Dimey Brown, pair him up with Travis Hunter. Then we'll take Woody Marks as our last running back with the negative coach speak surrounding Nick Chubb and obviously the injury news with Joe Mixon. Sorry, I was reading a question in the chat. Let me pull up flockfantasy.com for the screen real quick so we can get one of these drafts. Okay, so how you'll find this if you haven't been doing drafts already, which we have seen, and these are completely free drafts. I already have Sean asking, are there paid dynasty leagues on the Flock website? There are no paid drafts on the Flock website. And it is not in our plans anytime soon to ever do paid drafts on the site because realistically, I do not have the legal team that we would need to get that done. I would imagine we'd need lawyers and lawyers and lawyers to have paid drafts on the site. So they are just going to be free drafts that hopefully you can use to practice for your main redraft league. So let me refresh this. We are going to get, actually, let's not do a PPR. Now we'll do a PPR. What we're going to do here, we'll pick 10 in this draft. I'm going to try let's pull this up quickly. So again, the draft sheets that we posted on the site that you'll also get access to if you use promo code FLOCK and made a $10 deposit on Underdog Fantasy. But those draft sheets are specific to your exact league settings. So they're the 2025 ADP draft sheets. What you need to do is you need to look at the directory, find your exact league settings, figure out how many players are in your starting lineup, blah, 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 and go use that sheet. So we used this sheet in the live stream last night to test out a 12-team league, which we would have been starting 8 players in a full PPR format, which in my opinion, And you'll see with how I adjusted my rankings for those league settings, I went with a wide receiver heavy approach, and that's what I did in the Flock League for those league settings last year. And we did end up getting second place with the bye week until the playoffs and my editor beat me. But we did have success with it, and that's with me trading away Nico Collins to start off the season for a bag of peanuts. So I'm going to test out this draft sheet from pick 10. We tested it from pick 7 in the live stream last night, and we did end up finishing as the second best team according to the league analyzer. So we'll see what we can do with it this time. I think we kind of got lucky in some of the spots last time. Chase, Lamb, Bijan, Gibbs, Barkley all off the board. So what I'm essentially doing here is as players go, I am crossing them off to make sure that we can keep our big board and we know who the best player available is when we are on the clock. I'm sorry if I did the head fake on y'all. I did consider the half PPR because somebody in the stream earlier asked for it. But realistically, I need to be making sure that I'm set up for the Flock League. I'm sorry to be selfish, but that's my number one priority at the moment. And I need to use, because these are the sheets I'm going to use for my league. So looking at the sheet at the moment for these league settings, it has Nico Collins as the highest ranked player. See what the expert rankings have. The expert rankings have the running backs, but again, this is a full PPR format where we are assuming that there are 2 flex spots, so we can start up to 4 wide receivers. So I'm going to be pushing up the wide receiver value on my own board, which is exactly what we did in the Flock League last year. So Brian Thomas goes at the 201. Genty off, which sucks for us. I would have loved Genty, but it does mean we are probably going to walk away with Derrick Henry here. Derrick Henry is also the highest ranked player according to the expert average. I would be very nervous to take Derrick Henry in the Flock League, though. I wouldn't want to. I'd probably take him and then try to trade him. But okay, I got good news from the devs. It also sounds like the 2025 season pass is going to get dropped tonight. So y'all will have the first shot at getting the season passes. And I will say that I promise y'all, it will never be cheaper than this. I need to find a way to try to download this graphic. And this is by far and away the biggest deal that we've ever had on the site. Okay. Josh Jacobs goes 207. Oh, crap. I need to get on this. I need to be scratching these players off my board. I'm assuming whenever y'all are drafting, it's not going to be a 30-second timer, so you should have a little more time to adjust and cross off players from the cheat sheet as y'all go. So according to my board at the moment, Jonathan Taylor is the best player available. Okay. Sam's has been looking forward to you doing 10. Just got my draft ordered 2 days ago, and that's my pick. Drafting on the 8th at the Commander State. How the hell are you drafting there? That is awesome, my guy. That is incredible. Maybe for the Flock League one year, we can try to do something cool like that. Okay. You know what I'm just going to have to do? I'm just going to grab this, drag this to the desktop. Bucky off. Let's see if I can add this. Okay. Yes, we can. So Josh Allen goes. Again, if you're in like a league where you only start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, you will, especially if it's a non-PPR league, you'll see that I have Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, like the elite quarterbacks ranked extremely early. Like in some of your formats to just exploit them, we actually moved up those elite quarterbacks to being round 2 picks. Pretty comfortably so as well. Okay, so let's move these off. T. Higgins off. T. Higgins was the best available player according to our big board. Kyron Williams goes. Yeah, Marvin Harrison looks like the biggest reach at this point in comparison to where we have these guys. But of course, if you want to go get your, actually Amari Hampton went very early, but at the same time, it's just because people are on top of the news here. Lamar Jackson was the highest ranked player on my board. Breece Hall goes, the highest ranked player that I have at the moment. Actually, no, he's gone. Crap. The highest ranked player on our board then for these league settings will be Garrett Wilson. Assuming he's still there. Yes, Garrett Wilson. The highest ranked player according to the expert average rankings is Devontae Adams. So, and Adams goes immediately after. Jared says, do you have a 14-team sheet? We don't have a 14-team sheet, but I have instructions on the directory if you look at what sheet to use depending on the exact league settings of your 14-team league. So if you are in a 14-team league where you start like 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, essentially on the directory, we point you towards using the sheet that's a 12-team league with 2 flex spots because it's a similar amount of starters across the platforms. So on our sheet at this point, the highest ranked player is James Cook. And looking at the expert average, James Cook is much, much lower than this, but we're going to go ahead and take him anyway because I am not going to be drafting off the expert average on our site. To be honest with y'all, I'm going to be drafting off this sheet. And I need to know if there are any adjustments I need to be making with any of these sheets. Okay. Jalen Hurts goes off the board at the 404. Frank says, can you introduce an advance rate based on position on flock? I truly don't know what you mean by that. Alvin Kamara goes, so the best player on my board at the moment is Mike Evans. This draft seems a lot more standard. It actually seems like some people are using this sheet in comparison to the draft last night, or the mock last night, that is. Again, the goal for me in these drafts, as at least for what we are trying to accomplish, like what I'm trying to accomplish in a full PPR 12-team league with multiple flex spots, I'm trying to go wide receiver heavy. But we'll see the kind of wide receiver values that we get in the coming rounds. Tobin says, how much is the sheet you are using I just got here? As of now, it's about $100 for a year subscription, but do not get that because we are about to release the cheapest offer we've ever had on the site. It's specific. I still stand by. I think that if you are a dynasty player, you'd want to be an annual mother flocker with the $100 subscription because then you get a dynasty team review as well. However, if you are just somebody that wants access to flockfantasy.com until January 1st, wait until we get you the newest deal, which should be out any minute now. Okay, DK Metcalf goes 501. DK Metcalf was the best player on my board for quite some time, to be honest. Like, that was a really strong value with Metcalf. This point, I'm not going to say who the best player on my board is because we may be getting him on the way back. I don't want to get too excited assuming that we will. Rohit says, hey, Mason, I just signed up for Underdog with code FLOCK and deposit money. How do I get the draft sheet? It's going to be emailed. DJ Moore was the best player on our board by a decent little margin here as well. Congrats on that DJ Moore value. Like, DJ Moore was in his own little tier at that point at the 504 for this kind of format. James Conner. Jameson was a good value pick there as well. I actually thought we were going to get Jameson. Good for us to see Brian Robinson go. According to my board, that is a massive, massive reach. Okay, George Pickens off. Did Waddle go or no? Waddle is not gone. So we will get Waddle here at the 510. Waddle's the best player on the list that we are looking at. Trevion Henderson went. James Conner went. I need to let the timer go down a bit because I got to catch up with crossing these names off. Hunter, Caleb, Ridley, Rome. So the best players on our board at the moment, crap, I just lost them. I think it's Zay Flowers. I mean, it's Burrow, but I'm not taking Burrow here. I'll take Zay Flowers instead over him. Like, maybe if I had Higgins or Chase, I would go Burrow, but in reality, or if it was a 6-point passing touchdown format, but I'm going to draft as if this is the Flock League, which would be a 4-point passing TD. So we'll take Zay Flowers here at the beginning of the 6th, which I actually like a decent amount. And now that we go wide receiver here at the 5-6 turn, I really like our Derrick Henry round 2 pick and our James Cook round 4 pick. Because this isn't like an Underdog best ball draft, right? You can't just hammer in one position. You definitely need to be a lot more balanced, at least in the early rounds. Okay, so Rome's gone. Ridley's gone. Burrow goes. Burrow is the best player on the board while we are on the clock. Montgomery off. Again, I would expect that Montgomery is going to be falling a decent amount. Rohit says, should I send an email to get someone to send the sheet? No, you don't need to send an email. Underdog's going to send me your email address in a CSV file with everybody that signed up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK and made a $10 deposit in 2025. And then from there, I will upload that list of email addresses into probably just like MailChimp and send y'all the sheets at once. I'm just waiting until I get the Superflex stuff done. Okay. So it looks like some people in this draft are on auto. Tight ends go with Hawkinson, Swift. Maybe they queued those guys up because they weren't looking like they were at the top. Yeah, because if they were actually on auto, I would have expected them to auto Mixon. Because Mixon's definitely near the top in terms of creator rankings, I'd imagine. Pacheco, Aaron Jones, who outside of Mixon's gone, right? Is he over here? No, I guess Mixon got drafted. Where did Mixon get drafted? Mixon got drafted over there at the 412. Yeah, so that team at 1 must be on auto then. So in that case, Aaron Jones and Pacheco were definitely the best players on the board. So Shakir, Diggs both gone. Downs is Ricky Pearsall. Olave was gone. Judy, Pollard. It's going to make things tougher when we're on the clock. So we're going to have a decision to make. thought Pollard was already on. So here's, according to the experts ADP, it's Mahomes, Reed, Judkins, Debo. I mean, those are the expert rankings. Mine, we have Mahomes and Myers. I bet you we get Myers on the way back, so we are just going to go ahead and take Patrick Mahomes here at the 7-10. His ADP across all platforms is 70.15. My ranking of him is pick 89. See people asking if there's a flockfantasy.com app. We're working on making like a lot of these tools and stuff for y'all at the moment. Once all the tools are done that we know that we need to get to y'all, then I think the devs can start working on an app, but not until like we're done with everything we really want to get y'all. Baker goes, Myers ended up going as well, right? As well as Debo. So Matthew Golden is the highest ranked player on my board at the moment. Where is he in terms of the creator average? He's lower than like Igbuka, Judkins. Obviously, I'm not considering either the quarterbacks here, but we'll take Matthew Golden at the 803. And so now quarterback, we have Mahomes. Wide receiver, we have Nico, Garrett Wilson, Waddle, Zay Flowers, Matthew Golden, and running back, we have Derrick Henry, James Cook. Okay. Kelsey goes 805. Bo Nix off. So some more quarterbacks going, which is good because it would have been like ugly for us to take Mahomes where we did and then see like Bo Nix or Kyler make it back to us in a couple rounds. So Kelsey, Igbuka is an interesting redraft play because it feels like he would almost be better in best ball because it's going to be tough to know when to start him. His ADP across all platforms is 111, which is crazy. So has Tracy gone? Yeah, Tracy's off. I think Jalen Warren's still available. Travis Etienne goes. Kyler and Bo Nix are both off. Ooh, Tyler Warren goes early in comparison to where he was on my board. I think Tyler Warren's maybe a little bit of a better underdog pick than he would be for your regular redraft league. At least that's how I'm going to be treating him. Like there are a couple other tight ends that I would actually probably rather have in a regular redraft league. Evan Ingram goes right after. So Ingram goes 906. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep up to date with the sheets. Those teams auto picking at the turn really messed my timing up here. Okay, in terms of the players that we need to cross off, is Mooney gone? Yeah, Mooney went to one of those auto teams. Pittman goes, I don't want to say the names of the guys I'm looking at on my sheet here. So I'll show you all the highest ranked on my sheet once we're on the clock. Dak goes. Good for us. We're not taking Dak. Okay, so highest ranked, according to the site, would be like Caleb, Sharp, Scottaboo, Andrews. Jalen Warren's way down here. He's the highest on our board. So what we're going to do is we're going to take Mark Andrews at the 9-10, especially if we need to bump up Andrews given the likely injury. And we'll expect that we could potentially get Jalen Warren on the way back. Sharp off. Sharp was a little lower on our list. Scat goes. Jaden Higgins off. He was lower on our list as well. Jalen Warren goes. Jalen Warren was our highest ranked player. I don't know if Cup's already gone. The two highest players on our board are Cup and Jordan Mason at the moment. Yeah, there's no way that either of these guys are still available. Crap. I must have just missed them. Caleb, Fields, Keon. Is Keon there? Yeah, we're going to take Keon Coleman. Take Keon at the 10:03. Where did Cup? Can someone point out where Cup went in this draft for me? You control off him. Cup went at the 907. Oh, okay. So he went not too long ago. And where did Jordan Mason go? Jordan Mason went at the 810. Okay, so yeah, Jordan Mason had been off for a while. Dobbins off the board. Javonte goes at the 10:05. I'm excited to see where our team ends up in the league analyzer at the end of this. It is interesting that we are pretty much built around just the Ravens offense with Andrews, Flowers, Henry. We pretty much have everybody but Lamar. Drake May goes. So May wasn't the best quarterback on my board, but I know if you were looking at the expert average, he would have been very high because the guys at FSE really do like him. Bateman goes to the 10:07. Let's see, Trey Benson off. So we get a couple tight ends autoed here as well. Like, that's why I didn't like the Tyler Warren pick at the 9:05. It's like you can get Tucker Kraft, Loveland here at the 10:11 turn. Herbert Goff, we're pretty high on the board at the moment. Tootin Spears went as well, right? Yeah, Spears just went. Tank Bigsby, big-time riser with a positive buzz coming out of Jacksonville. McCarthy off. Am I missing a couple quarterbacks? Yeah. Yes, I am. At least Caleb I was missing. Caleb's already gone. And yeah, Fields is gone. I was blind there. There's no way the running back that's highest on our boards hasn't gone. Actually, he has not. We have a pretty big faller on my board if he ends up making it to us. Luther Burden goes, who should have been probably close to the highest if we were looking at the expert average ranks. I have him a little lower than the other guys do, I'm sure. Like, at least on my board, he was lower. Yeah, I think Team 3 may be auto-drafting. I don't know if they're trolling or they're auto-drafting. Kurt goes. Okay. So, honestly, at this point, because Team 3's taken so many running backs, I don't know if we want to be listening to our board or if we want to... Actually, I'm an idiot. I forgot. Our board had Stevenson as by far and away the highest-ranked player. So Stevenson, by far and away the highest ranked player. For us to get him there is a no-brainer at the end of the 11th. So yeah, that is an easy pick. Jordan Love was the best quarterback on my board. Couple interesting tight ends. I mean, if we're looking at where we currently sit at wide receiver, we have Nico, wide receiver 1, Wilson 2, Waddle 3, Flowers 4, Keon 5. Like, it's a wide receiver heavy format, but the big Q is not the highest wide receiver on our list. He's the highest wide receiver in the expert ranks. Like, if you just look at the ranking column for me, Quentin Johnson would be the highest. I have him ranked at 114. Like, if you're on the site and you're a paid member, you can sort by my rankings there and see I have the big Q at 114. But instead, I'm just going to listen to our list. Oh, my. We get autoed. Oh, crap. Okay, never mind. I was going to listen to our list and take a tight ends. Trey Harris was not the highest player on my big board, and at the same time, he was not the highest player in my own rankings. But it is what it is. Drusifer says, what app is this? This is flockfantasy.com. Just go to the mock draft section. And you can do mock drafts whenever you want for free in the public lobbies. Okay. Goddard goes. Yeah, both those tight ends, I think I would have taken over Trey Harris. I hated that auto. Johnny was not the highest on my board. God dang, that sucked. Yeah. What sucks about that Trey Harris auto pick is we weren't going to take another receiver in this draft. Like, what this team needed is this team needed to take a tight end there. We were going to take Dallas Goedert. Because what this team needs is we need another probably tight end and quarterback pick. I mean, we may not end up going in that direction. We'll see. But, like, that, if we would have gone tight end there in round 12, it could have let us take another running back, which we need another running back on this team. I don't want to go into the season with this thin of a running back room, even if it's a wide receiver heavy format and you can start 4 of them. But it is what it is. Kareem Hunt off at the 1307. Dylan Sampson 1308. Juice versus what's a wide receiver? Hey, Team 3 is Marvin Mims as their wide receiver too. We're going to take CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud's the highest on my big board, and at the same time, he's the highest according to my own rankings. These are the expert average ranks. These are my rankings. So I have Jerome Ford as the highest ranked player. The expert average has Jack Bech, Ray Davis. Jack Bech goes 1311. Which realistically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat this team as if I would only take one tight end. And if Mark Andrews doesn't work out, we would just pick up a different tight end off the waiver wire. As what this team needs desperately is a running back. And the guy that I have ranked highest here is Jerome Ford. I will probably end up taking Ford. I have Miles Sanders, my RB2. The reason I love running backs like this, and they're much higher in my rankings in your redraft leagues than they would be in like best ball, is if you're looking at Jerome Ford, if you're looking at Miles Sanders, they're the perfect examples of a running back that you can take in the last round. And you may have a starting running back in week 1. And if they're not a starting running back in week 1, then you know what? You can cut them in week 2. But like Jalen Wright has no chance to be the starting running back for the Miami Dolphins, right? That's not going to be a possibility. However, very easily, Jerome Ford could be that for the Browns, with Dylan Sampson being a day 3 NFL draft pick and Quinshon Judkins with the potential suspension. That NFL guy says, Mason, what's the format on the website? So you can go through and you can set your own format in your drafts. Yeah, I think we got screwed with the auto pick. I mean, we're down here at 11th in the league analyzer. Looking at our team with this, it's not that bad. I mean, we have a middle of the road quarterback room where we're 7th with Mahomes and Stroud. Running back, we have Derrick Henry, James Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, Jerome Ford. Wide receiver, we have Nico, Wilson, Waddle, Flowers, Golden, Keon, Trey Harris. The issue with this wide receiver room for redraft is, like, Keon Coleman and Trey Harris are tough players to cut. Like, I'm not really going to be able to see something in week 1 and know immediately, yeah, I can cut Keon Coleman. Yeah, I can cut Trey Harris. In best ball, they're perfect because they can give you random spike weeks. So you don't have to know when to start them. But I would prefer the type of clarity, like, with a different position other than the bottom end wide receiver. So I like the fact that we attacked wide receiver early in this draft. But what I don't like is the fact that at the end we autoed Trey Harris and it kind of threw our structure off. But obviously I'm not going to auto draft in the flock league. I don't need to worry about that too much. And then looking at these values based on our own rankings, you can see them here. It does have us up at 5, but I mean, if my own rankings don't have me as like a top 3 team, it's not ideal. And again, I am probably going to be blaming the majority of this on that auto pick with Trey Harris. But let me know if anybody has any questions. Dimple, I really appreciate you, my guy. We all watched your submission for the Flock League. It definitely made the cut for the video. I'm sorry, it did not. It did not win, though. I do really appreciate it, though, and I did really enjoy it. But yeah, we'll get in another draft here. Let's get in one more. And this next one we'll get in. Let's do another underdog. Or actually, F it. Let's do another Flock Fantasy mock draft. Because I don't want to end it out getting that low in the league analyzer. I don't want to end it getting screwed with like an auto pick at the end. So, 5th draft of the live stream tonight. Let's go. And we are, let me refresh. And let's just run it back. Let's do the same thing. PPR drafts. We'll do the 4 slot. So if you want to get in this draft with us, go to flockfantasy.com, go to the mock draft section, PPR public mock draft lobby, and let's run it. There's one spot open in this draft. It has now been taken, and we are off and running. Okay. And the 4 slot crap, I need to recopy and paste this stuff. Okay, perfect. So we can use this board, and I'm going to have to update the Jefferson stuff. I'm going to update these sheets every single week with our new rankings and the new ADPs. And for now, you have Jefferson ahead of Lamb and Gibbs on these. If you go to my rankings on flockfantasy.com, however, you will see that we have Jefferson behind those players. So we'll see what the site has as the best options. But our board at the moment has Jefferson, Lamb, and Gibbs, but we're going to have to update that with the hamstring news we got from Jefferson today. If you sort by if you sort by my rankings, I have Gibbs as the highest ranked player. So we will go ahead and we'll take Jahmyr Gibbs at the 104. This will be a little more of an interesting start. Okay. Dimple says, how have the drafts been tonight? Underdog drafts, I think we crushed. The flock mock, though, not the best. Okay. But the devs just gave me word on this, so I'm going to need your help here. So the season pass on flockfantasy.com has officially dropped. It just dropped about 30 seconds ago. So if you've been waiting to become a member of the flock, to get access to all the draft sheets, to get access to all the weekly in-season rankings, to get access to questions answered by me throughout the season, to get all the draft guides, not only my own, but from everybody else, the trade calculator, the trade finder, the range of outcomes tool, the player comparison, everything you'd want. It's all on flockfantasy.com. We've never done this before this cheaply. Usually it's about $100 a year, but we are going to do $34 for a regular season pass. So you will get access to all of that from the time you purchase to when it automatically cancels on January 1st, 2026. So if you were already a paid member of the site, if you were monthly, realistically, and you were just going to be monthly for the season, I would probably cancel your monthly membership because it would cost like $60 or $70 for the season, where this would only be $34. But if you're an annual paid member of the site, this will be nothing. You're not going to get anything extra with this. This is just a cheaper version that doesn't give you access during the off season for the dynasty season, like that. So please go to the site if you are considering this. Even if you're not going to purchase it, if you can just go to try and let me know if it is working, because the developers told me 30 seconds ago that this just went live on the site. And again, if you want me to be answering your start sit questions during the season and your trade questions during the season, use promo code FLOCK, and that's how you get it down to $34. And at the same time, how you'll get me to answer your start sit questions and trade questions during the year. Okay, Ben says working. Okay, perfect. That's all I needed to know. As long as one person can report that it's good to go. Samir says, is it $34 a month or just once for the year? It's just once for the year. Like I said, we've never done anything that cheap. It's $34 you pay now, and then you have access until January 1st, and when it automatically cuts off. But I was getting a call. I was worried it was from one of the devs telling me something went wrong, but it was from the lady, thank God. And I have not even been up on top of the sheets to see who the best player available is here. I think it is Jonathan Taylor, but let me triple check. Jonathan Taylor is the highest ranked player in my rankings and on the sheets as well. Jonathan Taylor is the number one guy. So we will take JT after Jahmyr Gibbs in rounds 1 and 2. Okay. Alagunki says, dude, I accidentally paid for 2 of them. Can I refund 1? Yes. Shoot a message in the Discord in the site issues section, and one of the devs will be happy to refund you. Trey McBride goes Jackson Smith and Jigba off the board. We took Jonathan Taylor. So let's see. Okay, Tyrone says it keeps signing me in and out. I'm reloading. Okay. Let's see. Let me figure out who I'm picking here. T. Higgins and Tyreek go. So on my board, I have Allen and Lamar as the top options. To be honest with you, if this was my start in the Flock League, I'd be terrified. But we're going to run with it, and we're going to see what can happen. So we'll take Josh Allen at the 304. In the big board, we have him at 26. Okay, Tyrone says it's fixed, letting me buy now. Maybe it was just too many people loading it at once. Hopefully that was the problem. But yeah, again, we've never offered anything this cheap. And we definitely are not going to offer anything that cheap ever again. Move this over. Okay, let's move this over. Jaden Daniels goes 310. Kittle goes 401. James Cook goes 402. McLaurin goes 403. I'm not going to, this is going too fast. I'm not going to be able to update the sheet. I'm just going to draft off my rankings. Okay. Josh Allen 405. So obviously the biggest need for us at this point is going to be a wide receiver. Sorting by my rankings on the site, I have Mike Evans, Kenneth Walker. Walker goes. So I really only have wide receivers as the highest ranked players. Looking at the expert average, Tet's the second highest. But regardless, whether you're looking at the expert average or my rankings, Mike Evans is going to be the highest available player at the 409, which I'll be happy to take Evans here. Okay. Alex says, in Discord now, sorry, do I go to site issues or domain customer support? You go to site issues. Tyrone says, purchase, thank you. Manny says, just bought and it's working. Yeah, thank you so much for everybody joining the flock. Like I said, I think y'all are really going to like it. We've worked all off season to get the site to be hopefully the best product that you can have, period. And definitely at the cost, the best by far. Okay. Let's see. Vinny saying, Mason, are you copying my team structure? Yeah, Vinny and I rolling with the same squad pretty much. So at this point, according to my rankings, it's Chuba, Waddle, Jameson as the best plays. Going in the next few rounds, we are going to get some opportunities for receiver. Do we go? Let's just take our highest ranked player. My highest ranked player is Chuba Hubbard here at the 504. We're going to take him and we're going to set up a prayer that we can get some wide receivers at the end of the 6th, the beginning of the 7th. Ben says, huge upgrade this year with player comparison tool and improved logs and averages. Yeah, and there's going to be a lot more stuff that's going to the site very soon. The devs just had to be working on getting out the season pass for y'all over the past few weeks. So some of the other big tools that they wanted to push out just kind of had to go on the back burner for us to get y'all the season pass offer, because it had to be a completely new product since it wasn't a subscription and since instead it's a single purchase. So y'all should see some pretty big things happen soon as well that I think y'all are really going to like. So good for us to see these running backs here going in the middle of the 5th. Okay. Joe Burrow goes to the 511. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see. Sorry, I'm trying to test this out real quick. Okay. Swift goes, good for us. We just need a receiver. Zay Flowers actually going to Vinny in the same spot we got him in the last draft. It will be interesting to see how Vinny's team stacks up and the league analyzer after this is done in comparison to where ours was. Both drafting out of the 10 slot. Okay, David Montgomery goes 607. So these are sorted by our rankings. The expert average has it as this. I have Joe Mixon much lower in my own rankings. But kind of regardless, we need to be going with the receiver. And I'm actually going to move Jordan Addison ahead of Jawan Jennings in my rankings post Justin Jefferson injury news. So I'm going to be taking Addison here ahead of Jennings. Okay. Let's move this over. So Downs, Godwin, both off the board. Again, we need a wide receiver kind of more than anything. Jennings goes as well. So what we're going to do here is if you're sorting by my rankings, the highest players are Brian Robinson, Jerry Jeudy. But we are going to take Jerry Jeudy at the 704 because we really don't have an option. We already have Gibbs, Taylor, Hubbard at running back, so I don't think we can go with Brian Robinson. Deebo Samuel goes off the board at the 710. So overall, I feel like for us starting with a pretty weird draft, it's okay. The difficulty with like going with a bunch of these like later wide receivers in redraft as opposed to best ball is you're going to have to figure out when we're putting Jerry Jeudy in our starting lineup, which maybe isn't a super big issue with Jeudy because in the case of Jerry Jeudy, I feel like we have a decent enough target floor. The issue is going to be when we're looking at some of the later wide receivers that we're going to have in like rounds 3. I'm sorry, in like 3 rounds from now. Okay, Jacoby Myers goes to the 805. Ayuk goes 807. I'm not stressing about not getting Ayuk here. So if we wanted to go with the receiver, it's like Mooney, Pittman. But again, the issue here is like, and this is why you sort by my rankings. I do have the running backs like Tracy and Travis Etienne as the better plays, because in a league where you actually have to submit your starting lineup, Mooney, Pittman are going to be really sketchy players to start. F it. We're going to go Mooney anyway. Because I guess if he is fully healthy in a league in which you can start up to 4 wide receivers weekly, it's a little better there. And if he misses the first few weeks, it's not as detrimental in a regular redraft league as it is in best ball. It's kind of in best ball, you're just needing to get as many usable weeks as you possibly can. Okay. Alex says people are going to be tilted in Eliminator week 1 when you needed all the Browns players versus the Bengals. I think people are going to be very much tilted week 1, kind of regardless in the Eliminator, when they realize like you're about to get bounced. Travis Kelce goes the 903. So here's this sorted by my rankings. I have Andrews the highest ranked player. The expert average has the quarterbacks. But what we may end up doing is we may just take Cooper Kupp and continue to play catch up at receiver, because again, like we're going to get to a point in this draft where there are wide receivers that I'm just not going to be comfortable ever putting into my starting lineup. Beach Whale says, just bought the season pass. Hell of a deal. Thanks, bro. Really hope you like it, my guy. And again, Jared got one as well. I do think it's going to be we worked very hard to make it the best value fantasy product that I think's ever been put out there. And I hope y'all really enjoy it, which I think y'all will. At least that's my guess. Now, this is something that we've talked about. Ben says, is there somewhere to apply to be a flock dev? The issue is, like, to onboard somebody in August is going to be pretty much impossible. Like, maybe in, like, January, we can have, like, another dev come on, but right now it's just very tough. Brian, if you're having any issues, I will get you the link to the Discord, and you can send anything that you have in the site issues section. So just go to the site issues, and if anybody ever has any issues with flockfantasy.com, you can send them here, and the devs will be able to see it. Okay. Okay. Brian says, all good now. Took time to sync. Maybe thanks so. Thank you, my friend. Happy to see. Beach Whale says the consistency ADP sheet loads just fine. Beach Whale says the draft sheets are having trouble loading on a Google Chrome. I mean, all you need to do is just get access to them, and then you can open them up in a different tab. Like, I wouldn't be trying to use them through the iWindow. Be pretty tough there. Desire Best says, did you see Hampton's going to get snaps in the Hall of Fame game? Curious to see how he looks. I did not see that. Probably won't impact how I value him at all. So these are the expert average rankings. However, if you look at my rankings, I have Tucker Kraft and the Big Q as the best players available. I'm going to take Tucker Kraft here quite comfortably as our first tight end off the board at the 10:09. And I'll feel comfortable in my redraft league taking 2 tight ends if I wait this far to get my first guy. Okay. Let's see. The big Q goes at the 10-10 immediately after us. Quentin Johnston's definitely somebody that I prefer in redraft leagues than in best ball leagues than redraft leagues. Because this is another player that's like, I'm pretty sure he's going to have usable weeks, but good luck figuring out when they'll be. So like, I liked our decision after we went with no wide receivers through the first 3 rounds and only Mike Evans through the first 5 to really scramble and play catch up immediately. Because like the wide receivers in the coming rounds, I'm not going to feel comfortable ever getting in my lineup. Ben says, any plans for Underdog support with the Flock League Analyzer? Possibly, but everything that we build out on flockfantasy.com realistically at the moment is mainly for your redraft leagues and for your dynasty leagues. Like we don't have a lot of Underdog stuff on the site. Sorting by my rankings, I have like Najee and Spears as the 2 highest guys. I think given the new report that we have with Najee where we still don't have a timetable for him, I probably would go Spears ahead of him. But in reality, I'm just going to take Dallas Goedert here as our second tight end, have both Tucker Kraft and Goddard, and feel very comfortable about my tight end position. Yeah, we'll have to figure out when to start both of these guys respectively, but it's not the end of the world. And let me go ahead and move this down. And also, by the way, if y'all wanted the season pass, this is what it would be on flockfantasy.com. This is the, usually like the mother flocker is about $100 a year or $16 a month. This you'll get access till January 1st for only $34. Get all the draft guides. You'll get free start sit questions from me if you use promo code FLOCK. And you'll get all the updated weekly and rest of season rankings through the entire season. Okay. Let's move this back. Rashad Bateman goes to the 11-10. Okay. Trey Harris off at the 12:04. I think at this point, only 3 running backs to the first 11 rounds. While they are 3 running backs that project to see a ton of volume with Gibbs, Taylor, and Hubbard, I'm fine going running back on the way back around. We're definitely not taking tight end. This is sorted by my rankings. I have Shaheed, Pitts, Stroud, Love, Likely, Lawrence, McCarthy. I don't have any running backs for quite some time. My next highest ranked running back's Dylan Sampson. Looking at the expert average on the site, the next highest running back's Austin Eckler. And Shaheed going is actually a little brutal for us. I was going to take Shaheed. I'm not going to take a quarterback or a tight end. So it's really down to, do we take one of the receivers like Kyle Williams, Marvin Mims, or do we take Dylan Sampson? I'm going to take Dylan Sampson at the end of the 12th. Cobb says the current 2025 rankings on Flock Fantasy, a mix of 6 of you and your friends. So the expert average is the average rankings from Fantasy Stock Exchange, Domain, Lands, and then myself. If you wanted to look at specifically my rankings, like when you're on the rankings page, hit sort by, then you go to Mason Dodd. This is locked because I just made a new account right now to test out to see if everything was working. But if you're a paid subscriber, you can sort by my rankings and see my rankings in tiers. Okay, so after we go with Dylan Sampson, I mean, we can take a wide receiver here in Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams isn't even guaranteed like the wide receiver 2's job in New England, of course. We are going to have to hope that the run out works well from him, but we will see. Okay. Okay, let's see. Pat Bryant goes 1303. McCarthy off at 1309. And you know what I probably should have done? I probably should have been smart enough to get y'all a link to the site if y'all wanted to take advantage of this. So let's do that right now. Okay. There's the 2025 season pass. I just dropped that in the live chat. Hollywood Brown goes at the 13.11. Thomas says, for the season pass, is it $34 monthly or $34 for the rest of the year? It's just $34 for the rest of the year. It's a one-time purchase. Hollywood Brown, 13.11. Let's move this down. Cedric Tillman, 13.12. Yeah, that's the reason it took so long to get the season pass out for y'all, is because everything that we have done on flogfantasy.com up until this point has been a subscription. This is the first thing that's not a subscription, and it will automatically cancel on January 1st. Okay, Cam Moore, this is just a one-time. You buy it, and then you're done. Braylon Allen, 14.03. Miles Sanders, 14.05. Jalen McMillan, I think at this point, I'm probably opting to go with the running back in the last round, like somebody that we can see their role pretty early. Taking a quarterback here does really nothing for us. You could go like Keenan in the last round and see where he ends up signing, but we can go Roshan as well, because there is a little uncertainty in that Chicago Bears backfield, where it will be nice week one seeing what the role Roshan has. Okay, Keenan Allen does go 14-10, which again, if you are taking a wide receiver in the last round, I think Keenan is interesting there. But here's our squad. We have Gibbs, Taylor, Chuba, Dylan Sampson, Roshan at running back. Receiver, we have Mike Evans, Jordan Addison, Jerry Jeudy, Darnell Mooney, Cooper Kupp, Kyle Williams. Tight end, we have Tucker Kraft and Dallas Goedert, and then we have the elite quarterback with Josh Allen. Sarlt says, what's the difference between draft guides and the sheets? So I did the draft cheat sheets for you this year, but other creators I'm sure are going to do draft guides, where the sheets are more like you print this out and take it to your draft, where the guides I'm sure are going to be more like you can do research with this before your draft. Okay, so we are here at the 3 slot in the league analyzer. Definitely like our team more now that we dodged the auto pick. The difficult spot is it says we have the best running back room in the league with Gibbs, Taylor, Chuba Hubbard, Dylan Sampson, Roshan. However, it says we have the worst wide receiver room with Evans, Addison, Jeudy, Mooney, Kupp, Kyle Williams. I wouldn't really argue with this either. I mean, our wide receiver room is kind of garbage. If we use our rankings instead, I guess I'm still at the 3 slot. That doesn't really change. But it does instead, for whatever reason, have me as the second best running back room, which I guess it gets a little worse. Thomas says, how do we get access to the 4 guides? If you already got set up with the 2025 season pass, which I just sent that link out in the live chat, it's just flogfantasy.com. The guides will be posted on the recent post section. So I will show you real quick. 2 of them are already posted. I think the other 2 creators are going to be posting theirs August 1st, last time I heard. Don't hold them to that, though. We'll see when they get it out, but I'm sure it's sooner rather than later. The FSE draft guide's already out here, which you can go through and you can check out everything that they have. They have a ridiculous amount of sheets down for y'all. They have best ball, they have running backs, receivers, tight ends, super flex, a ridiculous amount of information. So they have theirs there. Mine is here with the draft sheets. Mine's more like, look at the directory, find your league, print this out, take it to your draft. And then I think the land guys, last I heard, is more going to be like research based. But yeah, it'll just all be on the site there with the recent post section. But I think that's all I got for y'all. I really appreciate you. Again, we're going to keep on opening up the stream every night, doing those drafts on Underdog Fantasy. We'll mix in some regular redraft drafts at the end because I need to practice for the Flock League. So, love for you to draft with us. We're doing it every single night. And super happy that we were able to get that $34 pass out for y'all, which should set you up for the entire season. Very proud of the work that we were able to do with that and really hope that you find value with it. But appreciate you and really hope you get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow night.